Hello, everybody. Um, as you may know, I'm a programmer and I've been working on a project called ADAN, as you may have seen. I actually created a video promoting the person who created it. Her name is Lily. You should check her out. And she 30 minutes ago posted a video on how to program in it, but I just wanted to go and I guess create my own video and do it myself. So that's what I was planning to do here. I'm trying to remember. It's been a little bit since I've touched this, if I can remember how to go. And oh, let me pop chat. It's disappeared on me. I doubt anybody's even going to watch this live, but just in case. There should be a I'm so confused because there's meant to be a markdown file. I think it was the readme, but view language grammar. 404 not found. It says in docs. I did some pushes trying to fix some things. Maybe my get was being weird. Let me so I have two computers put up here. Let me view the Git history and we can debug this and get going with the stream. Now, how's that even showing? Oh, because that's for the... I guess... Shouldn't have deleted anything, so that's why I'm just so confused. How do I have an empty commit here? Yeah, I can message her. Okay, so that's weird. But we do have the grammar put up now, which is good. So yeah, I actually haven't looked at this too much, but I've done a lot of help with this language, so I guess hopefully I should be able to quickly understand it. But it's been a couple of days since I worked on it. When I was preparing for this stream, I just did a little test to make sure it all compiles on my MacBook and my Arch Linux machine. If you're on Windows, I don't really know what to tell you. I haven't been able to test it. Let me just go and delete ADAN so I can do it from scratch for all of you. Have to remember, okay, that's github.com. Veto, not the repository, git at github.com. Okay. Oh, I need to do git clone, not git pull. Sorry about that. So once you just clone it and cd into it, you're going to want to create a board directory and cd into that. I just have a make cd just to make things easier. Then cmake ... which And this is pretty standard for like most C projects, and then you just want to do make edit still, and then that will create a ADAN executable, which if you want to go and really install this, although right now it's not even compiling, it's just like tests and pausing, you can copy it in to your slash bin, slash user slash bin, us bin, user slash bin. I'm just going to do it to the user bin, ADAN, and that to be sudo root. Just to show you how you would do it, and eventually I think we're going to have a operation not permit. Why is the operation not permitted? You can just do this manually. It should be pretty self-explanatory if you just go and like follow regular Unix structures. Again, if you're on Windows, I can't help you. I haven't used Windows in like multiple years. But oh, please work. Oh, be modified. And it's not important. We'll probably have a script to do it automatically, but after that you can just do /ADAN, and then I think now I'm just going to show you how to code in ADAN. So I'm just going to put up an IDE here. I do like to use Neofilm, but just for simplicity I'm going to be using VS Code here. Get rid of this AI stuff. Just going to create I'm just going to edit this file. So most of this is pretty similar to what we have been doing. So like we just include and then the thing we want to include. I don't know exactly every single standard library we have planned. I know like we have a file system one. Here's like the IO, which is more so like printing and writing to like the console, standard input, output, and it's just the include it in that IO. And then when I look at the documentation, I know you can also do like a include, like that's just a utils. Also, if you're wondering about syntax highlighting because you don't have it, there's just an extension called actually can do Mumble. Created my own version and then it got deprecated. This I think needs to be updated. On like actually if I update out of this, I don't know how much of these other people actually have done. I'm working on getting access to it. If you want to compare it yourself, the GitHub is there. I was told it was up to date, but I'm like actually pretty positive the GitHub for it is not up to date. But if you just go to our repository and then go to ADAN VSE LSP, ALSP is as language for protocol, and then VSE VS Code. So like I'll now just paste this in chat for you, if it will let me do that easily. Yeah. If my keyboard likes me, I can just type it in. Then I believe that should be the correct link. I can just click here. Yeah. Nope, that's how I don't want to go to site. Yeah, that works. And then we even have a VSIX. I don't know how up to date it is. December 15th. which we have rewritten ADAN since then. I don't believe it has changed too much. But anyways, back to, if I can find which VS Code window it was, this one. So yeah, saying you can include like your own files. Like I just included utils here, and then you will just create a utils.adn for ADAN, and then you can just go and do your regular like functions. I'm just gonna copy this actually and put it in here. And then I don't know if there's an export keyword. I have to look that up, but and that's how you're going to import it. Let me pull up the documentation here again. I went through a couple of steps. Okay, here. Also something to note, we don't have like global variables or anything, so there's like only basic keywords in the zeroth scope. Program is just going to be the function keyword, like usually it's just like function, just 2 parentheses, Python stuff. So it's like some languages it's fun. But we used program, and I didn't fully understand why other than to be unique, but actually, fun fact, I was watching Lily's video on it, and she said like she's kind of always thought of functions as like miniature programs, which I think is actually a pretty good way to think about it if you are needing to learn programming. I will not start with ADAN, it's definitely so unstable if you are new to it, but you're definitely welcome to try and read after publicity. As if we get like, I think it's 1,000 GitHub repositories, like we will actually be able to see like ADAN as one of the languages used. So yeah, just it's going to be program and then the name of the function, and then the type it returns, and then you can have parameters inside the 2 parentheses here, and you define it like a regular variable, which I can show you here. Don't need my 3D engine. Oh, my processor. Show save it. The workspace now. So yeah, it's actually just like right here. It's going to be the variable name, and then 2 colons, and then the type, and then equates to equal sign, just one of them, and then what you're assigning it to. So like anything that is a string, so it can be a function call, or it can just be like a string. Then something to add on to with functions is I like to think of them as like a type of variable, because like if you program an ES6, ECMAScript, whatever you want to call it, you do const name equal, and then like you define a function. I prefer the newer syntax, but I think it's also helpful if you're learning program to just also think of functions as their own like variable. I kind of went off of variables. Another thing I should mention is the return keyword, which is how you go and a function early, or you can just put it at the end, or you can use it to go and return something. So this program is actually broken. We want a return 0 because in POSIX compliant it would go and have a 0 return type if it's successful, and then if it doesn't yield, it would do like -1, like wonderful. There's actually a actual standard library in C that just defines a lot of the code, so you don't really have to memorize like, oh, what number do I have to put if I'm out of memory. We have quite a few types. Integer is just like it's a signed 64-bit integer, so I'm not sure how much binary my audience knows, but like we have a just like, let's say, a binary number here. This would be 1-bit, 2-bit, 3-bit, 4-bit, and then there'll just be 64 numbers that are either 0 or 1. The 0b is just defining its binary, and then it being signed means that it's in 2's complement. So like, let me just like have a random number here that is showing so like this is saying like the first bit, and I'm just assuming Little Indian because that's what most processors use nowadays, but like the PowerPCs use Big Indian architecture. But this will be the 1's place, 2's place, 4's place, 8's place, and then this will be the negative 16th place. If it was unsigned, it will be the 16th place. So it's just the last bit is going to go and be its negative version. And what that does is it cuts the numbers we can use in half, but it also, well, not really, because it's the same amount of numbers, but it just shifts it down in half, so that you can use negative half to positive half of the number before. So yeah, hopefully that explains a little bit. And then if you don't really know binary, it's basically just the decimal system. So like, you know how we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we don't know what to do here because we're out of digits, so we're going to rapidly want and do 10, and then we can keep continuing with the last place, and then it's just going to do that until we get to 20 wrap around and so forth. So then whenever we do 0, we do 1, we're out of digits, so we do 1, 0, and then we do 1, 1, out of digits again, so then we do 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, and so forth. I hope that makes sense to you. And then strings is just an array of characters. A character is just like an ASCII values, like 65 I think is like a capital A or something. Don't quote me on that. So it's basically just an array of like 16-bit integers. Boolean is just a 0, 1, so it's just like 1 bit. Float, I need to look into how we define floats, if it really even has been decided, because floats are a bit weird, and that's something I'm trying to figure out myself, is how floats work under the hood. Which, now I think about it, with our integer, whenever we're comparing for 32-bit systems, it'll probably just be 32-bit signed by default. So just half the bits. We have void, which is just like it's returning nothing, kind of like null, and then we have null, which is just 0. And then we also have arrays, which is just using the left and right brackets. It's 0 indexed, so it's pretty normal. So like basically just how it explains it here is pretty good. So 1 is 0, 2 is 1, 4 is 3. So just subtract 1 mentally in your head if that confuses you and you're not much of a programmer. um, um, and then whenever something I didn't mention with variables, this is declaring it, but then if you want to change it, you would just go len equal, and then the file is like, let's just say TypeScript as an example, and that does change it. Also, something about strings. The last value in your string is going to be 0 or null, and that's just how it declares it's the end of the array. There's something different in it. So here we're going to go and define a couple of comparators. Sorry, I cannot speak. I'm just going to quickly go through it. The explanation mark is not, it turns a true into a false or a false into a true. Double equals is not assigning but comparing, so it just returns true or false if the value on each end is the same, greater than and less than, and then the equal to and part is pretty self-explanatory. It's just like basically how you write it in math. And if it's like, for example, a character, it's just going to probably be the ASCII integer value. It's like I was saying, how like 65 I think is A. A would be 65. The explanation mark equal is just the opposite of the double equal. Double ampersand is going to be and, so it requires everything on both sides to be true, and then double pipe is going to be the all, so it's if either side is true, it's going to be true, and then you can also go and group them together with parentheses, but that looks like it's not mentioned. And then here we have some of the more mathematical things. So we have modulus, which is, I actually didn't know this until I started programming and like for years into my programming, but it's basically instead of division, it's kind of like doing elementary school division, where it will give you the remainder, and it's just like doing integer division. Addition, subtraction, division, multiplication is pretty simple. If you're a younger person, you may not know what exponentiation is, but it's basically just repeated multiplication. The other kind of mentioned parentheses. It just also works in a mathematical sense. And then you can do it as you declare or update the value with a not actually really declare, because there has to be an initial value in the recent data point, but whenever you're updating a value, you can go and just do plus equal, minus equal, times equal, divide equal, modulus equal, and you probably also want to add exponentiation equal. Now, bitwise things in here, I kind of want to get through that. Oh yeah, out here at the bottom. So we have ampersand, which is a bitwise and. So let me get that binary again. 0b 0 1 0 0b 1 0 0. Okay, so let's just do AND to begin with. So if we're going to be ending it, it requires both values to be true. So I actually want this one to also be a 1. 0b 0 1 0 would be the answer, because it checks, is both of these 1? If not, 0. Is both of these 1? If so, yes. If both of these 1, if not, no. And then, so this would be and then an all is going to go and be both of them, because it checks if either all, so which should be pretty self-explanatory. Not is just going to invert it, so this is kind of just one stop, because like you don't have a left hand or right hand value, it's just one value. But this is just going to be 0 1 0 in this example, as it's inverting everything. Exclusive all is going to be exclusively all, which I feel like is also pretty self-explanatory. So like it's all without the end. What other bitwise things do we have? Bitwise NAND. So I guess we added some that aren't even like pretty standard in programming, but in NAND it's just going to go and be see anything that isn't in, so it'll be just like that. No is going to go and not be all. X no is going to be exclusively not no, so that's the opposite of XL. And then we're going to have left shifts and then signed right shifts and zero for right shifts. So that's going and like adding or removing. So it's a good way to think about it is quickly or dividing by 2. Because if you're shifting it to the left, it has multiplying it by 2, or if you shift it to the right, dividing it by 2. So this is kind of just what it looks like. I haven't used shifting much. I've mostly just used these. So I can kind of just take a minute to look at that. And that's after bitwise operations. So let me get back to where I was. So I kind of explained that. Loops. Okay, so loops. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just kind of defining it in the ADAN way. But it's going to be like, just like, I guess, like, that is going to be a loop, for example. That will be a for loop incrementing into 10. So it's pretty basic to most languages. Although just we have our unique way of defining variables. And then we also have a while loop. So this is just something that I'm going to result in true or false. And then we can, of course, break out of it. And then also, like, there's a continue keyword which will go and return without breaking. The explain libraries. Then we're also working on a man database, so you can just go and look it up. Typecasting. So looks like this is just like how it is in C. So like let's say we needed this to be a number. We can do int, and then we can cast it back to a string just like that. Although that'll fail because it does not convert an array to an integer. So just put it in parentheses. Then also we see string concatenation here, which is pretty basic. It's just going to go and be kind of like how it is in ECMAScript, although you don't need the backticks. So like you can just do that, and that just points the same thing. But then you can see like is the greatest programming language, and just add on to it easily without having to use the arithmetic operators on a string, which I prefer like this syntax. Which that kind of is already explained as part of that. Then we have escape characters, which these are pretty standard. \n is a new line. \r is a return character, which I've never really understood, and most programs automatically add them to you, and like Linux actually doesn't care about them, but Windows does, and will automatically be added. So I'm actually not really the person to ask about that. \b is going to move the cursor back one space. I'm not sure if it's going to delete that character or not. Just from this, I haven't used that one as much as well. \t is t. \0 is going to be null, which is how you end strings. And then like your quotation marks is going to be how you go and have like a, a quotation mark within your string when you don't want it to end. And then also if you want a little backslash, you can just do double backslash. I guess backslash A is going to trigger a sound. Backslash F is going to go to the next page. I'm guessing that just means like a terminal page, because how your terminal is it's just a grid of lines and columns, and then there's multiple pages, like this is one page, and then like this is another. Backslash V is going to move the cursor down. Backslash N represents a character by its octal value, which is base 8. I guess that's just like backslash and then some numbers that's going to go and be a way you can define a character in octodecimal, which I don't know why you'd want to do that. And then XHH is okay, so I guess H is just going to be a number. I don't know why this is n then. But then this is just hexadecimal, which is the basic 0x without the 0. U is going to be Unicode character in hexadecimal. And then capital U is going to use 8 digits. So I guess there's different hexadecimal formattings, and like that's a good gist of it. It didn't talk about exporting, if that even needs to be done. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this language, and I hope that I was able to explain some things, and